Interested in giving you the vision. And when both Trump and Cruz today said, oh, well, Kasich's taking my votes, somebody said, well, wait a minute. If you're taking Cruz's votes, how can you also take Trump's vote? I said, well, because I can win both votes. Because I do understand the fear that the Trump voters have.
I'm going to give him a nickname, the spoiler. That was John Kasich just moments ago telling supporters at a town hall in New York how he could win votes from both Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. Listen, let's face it, both Trump and Cruz have complained about Kasich being in here. This is just one day before the Wisconsin primary. And there is a new poll from Investors Business Daily that shows John Kasich, the only GOPer who can beat Hillary Clinton, in fact, by a wide margin. Will this mean anything for tomorrow or maybe for that contested convention? Tammy Bruce, Bob Vanderplatz, Vince Colonnese, and Steve Rogers are with me. Tammy, I'll go to you first. The poll has Kasich at 45%, Hillary at 38%. She trounces the other two Republicans. I mean, is it a moot point, though?
Well, look, Kasich is the dinner guest who never leaves because he thinks he's the most.
Was he invited?
He thinks he's the most interesting man who's been at the dinner party. And why would you want him to leave? Look, we've seen with polls that they get adjusted based on what the legacy media wants to see. This is a battle for people's minds. We've seen in this process that polls can maybe show a trend. Here's a man who ends up fourth in a three-man race with his own base. This notion that he will suddenly become Superman in the general election is absurd. So here's what people have to focus on at this point are the messages that the candidates are now sending. Hillary is still relatively untouched. Nobody's touched Bernie Sanders. It is an artificial argument at this point at the national level. And I've always said from the beginning, whoever is the GOP nominee will win the presidency because it is about not just Trump, independents and Democrats, everyone realizing that they've been taken for a ride and they've had enough.
They should win. There's absolutely no doubt about that. As far as this Republican election, Steve, you're a Trump guy. The same poll shows that if you take first and second, Cruz is at 63 to 49 for Donald Trump, a complete flip-flop from before. You don't have to believe in polls, but you do see a trend where certainly Ted Cruz is picking up momentum. Well, at some point, Trump has got to shoot him down. I know New York is his spot, but how important is tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is very important. And by the way, I think John Kasich would be a great vice president to Donald Trump. I mean, he's a gentleman. He's got the talent and the skills. Let me say this to you. With all these polls, there are a large number of independent voters and first-time voters coming out that I believe weren't polled. I believe tomorrow, and I'm going to go out on a limb, Charles, Donald Trump is going to win Wisconsin, and he's going to cruise, no pun intended, right to the nomination.
All right. Bob Vanderplatz, I'm pretty sure you agree with that as well.
Probably not. I think what we're going to do is have a very good night tomorrow night in Wisconsin. But I also agree, that John Kasich, it's kind of like human nature. We always like what we can't have. There's no way you're going to get John Kasich. Mathematically, he can't get there. He shouldn't be in the race. This is a head-to-head matchup. Let Trump and Cruz, battle it out, and let the best man win. Hopefully, he can get to 1237
doesn't he help Ted Cruz, Bob? If he does well in Pennsylvania and well in New York, doesn't it help Ted Cruz?
I don't think he does. All of our internal polling shows a head-to-head matchup. Cruz beats Trump easily. So Kasich, I think, just keeps taking votes away from Cruz. Trump doesn't want him in the race. Let this be mano to mano, and let's see who wins the race, and let the Republican have a chance to unite at that point.
Vince, how do you see it shaking out?
Well, Kasich still has fewer delegates, by the way, than Marco Rubio, and Rubio's completely out of the race. So, I mean, at this point, they have just as much of a chance of becoming the Republican nominee. What I think the storyline to look for tomorrow is obviously, can Trump close that gap? Can he get close to actually winning in Wisconsin? And in many regards, because of the way the map is shaking out going forward, this is Ted Cruz's last stand.
Right.
If he has a big victory here, then he's a threat to stopping Trump from getting the nomination.
Charles, may I add one thing? This could be the end of the Republican National Committee as we know it if Trump wins.
All right, guys. Yeah, well, if Ted Cruz doesn't win tomorrow, I think it is all she wrote. All right, guys, thanks a lot. You were